Hello and welcome to my tutorial video on how to make custom weapons do damage to both players and AI. So, about 7 months ago, I made a video on this already, but as soon as I released that video, almost as soon, Rec Room deprecated some chips. So, I'm back 7 months later to make an updated tutorial. It isn't much different, but still gotta remake it. Anyway, let's get on to how to do it. So before we go ahead and start the tutorial, I'm actually going to show you the end result minus the explosion. So yeah, that's what it does. Now we're actually going to get into the tutorial. So first things first, we're going to have to change some room settings. So starting from the home page, let's go to this room, settings, scroll down. If you scroll down far enough, you'll see Allow Creative Tools Beta Content. You're going to have to check mark that on. For me, it's already on. Then we're going to scroll down a bit more until we see AI, then Nav Mesh. You're going to have to press Bake Nav Mesh if you haven't baked it already. And here's something that you might like if you don't want to see purple everywhere. For me, I already have it off. But, this is what it looks like without it. This is what it looks like with it on, or off. Now, let's get to the circuits. So the items/circuits you'll need to make this complete circuit are an if chip, delay chip, projectile launcher, spawner component, button, event receiver, rec room object, get all with tag, from rec room object, collision data get object, collision data get player, combatant receive damage, for each, equals, trigger handle, and a clamp. Actually, before we start, they won't all be in here. They're all just favorites of mine, so you're going to have to type them in. What we're also going to do is go to Circuits and Debugging, turn on Always Snap Circuits. We're going to also turn on Debug Targeted Execution. And with these on, you'll see what we'll do with them later. So the first thing we're going to do is spawn in a trigger handle. We're going to select the circuit board with the configure tool. We're going to change attachment mode from follow to detached. And we're going to find some surface to put this on. Circuit organization is key if you want to be a good circuiteer. Let's also get out a projectile launcher. Yet again, select the circuit board with the configure tool, change attachment mode from follow to detached, and line it up with your trigger handle. And since I'm hoping, if you're following along with the tutorial, you enabled it to where it snaps automatically. Now what we're going to do is get the trigger handle, primary action pressed, fire forward. Let's not forget a clamp, because that would not be good. What we're also going to do with the clamp is connect the base of the clamp to the trigger handle, connect the top of the clamp to the projectile launcher. Your gun, but that's not even half of the tutorial. So what we need to do now is get a spawner component, select surface, and place down your spawner component wherever. You're going to yet again select the circuit board with the configure tool, change attachment mode from follow to detached, and line it up. Now we're going to configure the actual spawner component and set the object to whatever you want. I'm going to select a pumpkin head. Now, once you got your object, select the object with the configure tool, change health bar visibility to always, and set a tag for your object. Now I'm going to call it Flunky. And you can remove this tag if you want to. Now let's go ahead and get in button. Spawn that button in. Select the circuit board. Change attachment mode from follow to detached. Line it up. Then you get a wire pressed to spawn. Now, I've yet to explain what these do. So essentially, whenever you press the trigger on the trigger handle, it fires an event, which makes the projectile launcher fire forward. And what this does is when the button's pressed, it spawns the AI. Now, you might think you're done here, but look at this. No damage taken. So let's get rid of him by doing this. You should be able to do that if you selected debug, this debug tool right here that I showed in the beginning. Basically what you do is just hold down the pin with your wire tool. Now, what we're going to do is edit the circuit board. Quick disclaimer. If a circuit has this symbol on it, that means you can edit it, and it's a circuit board. And when you edit it, this thing pops up. Make sure you press edit and not configure. So now we're going to get into the actual circuit part. You're going to need to get 2 event receivers. Actually, I'll just delete that one and clone it later. Projectile hit player. This is the first event receiver you're going to want to get. Then you're going to want to get projectile hit rec room object. So basically what this does is it sends an event whenever your projectile hits a rec room object or a player. And we're going to do the player hit first. So you're going to want to get a collision data get player. Wire that up to collision data. Then you're going to get a combatant receive damage. You're going to wire the player at the collision data get player to target. You're going to wire damage to this damage port right here. You're going to wire damage source to firing player. And you're going to change this to true. You don't have to, but I suggest it. So basically what this did, whenever the event is sent that it hit a player, it sends an event to this combatant receive damage. It gets the health of the player, and it subtracts how much damage your gun does from that health. It gets the player from this collision data right here. And the damage source, I don't know exactly what that is for. I just know you gotta wire it to the firing player. And it just gets the damage source. Okay, so hit player, simple enough. Now we're gonna go hit. We're gonna get the hit rec room object event. We're gonna get a collision data get object. Wire that to collision data. Get another one of these. You might think, hey, this is simple. Wire that to that and now that. Well, guess what? It only gets AI, combatant, and player, and this is considered a rec room object. So how do we fix that? Well, what we do is we get a from rec room object. And as far as I'm concerned, the from Requiem object converts the Requiem object to what it actually is, which is an AI. So we're also going to wire damage to damage, set that to true. It's already true. We're going to get firing player to a damage source. So if you only wanted to hit a certain tag, we're going to need to unwire that. We're going to get a for each chip. We're going to get a Requiem object, get all tag, wire that to the for each, and change this string to what you tagged the Requiem object as. We're also going to get an if chip. I'm going to get an equals chip. I'm going to wire the item from the for each to the top of the equals. We're going to wire the collision data get object to the bottom of the equals. We're going to wire the bool to this bool. We're going to change, and we're going to wire the then to this. And there you have your circuit. But let me explain it real quick before you go. So essentially, when the event is sent, it sends the event to the for each. The for each gets everything with the tag right here, and it sends an event per object in the list, per item in the list, I mean. And it checks right here using this equals and if. It checks if that object equals an object with this tag. And if it does, it will output a then. If not, which will be a false, it will output an else. So true then, false else. And yeah, that should be the circuit. Now let's see if I did it right or not. So I actually forgot something. So it does damage to players, but it doesn't do any damage to Requiem objects. And the reason is it's at 0. So what we're going to do is configure the projectile launcher. Let me just configure the projectile launcher. Set the Requiem object value to however high you want the damage to be. And yeah, now it should work. Let's see. And there you go. You have your circuit. That was the updated tutorial on how to do damage to both players and AI with a custom weapon. If you learned something from this video, please tell me. And a like would be appreciated, you know. But yeah, that's about it. We have a circuit class coming soon. And if you want to be a part of it, just tell me. I'll have links in the description to my accounts you can contact me on. And yeah, stay tuned for more circuit tutorials, and see ya.